wanted to share a few thoughts with you about text editing, OST 164. Several weeks ago, I heard about a scandal involving one of the military service academies. Don't remember which one. Several cadets or midshipmen or whatever had obtained a copy of the questions, only the questions, on an important test. And this was a very serious infraction of the honor code. How dare you have the questions? Now remember, they're not passing around the answers to these questions. They're simply passing around the questions that will be asked on the test. And I had to smile about that when I thought about OST 164, because in this class, you get the questions. That's what the worksheets are. You get the test questions in advance, and you get the location of the material that will help you answer the question by rule number in the Gregg reference manual. So you're getting the question, and you're getting where in the book you can find the material that helps you figure out the answer. Now, I admit it's not always easy to understand some of those rules. That's where the examples come in. Examples can be very powerful. Now, on the first worksheet, you are simply trying your best to find and correct errors in the text. It's not graded in the sense that I count off points where you get things wrong, because I expect you to get things wrong. Here, you're just trying to gauge where you are right now, how much you know right now, how good you are at punctuation, capitalization right now. And so you are guessing on the first worksheet. After that, you're supposed to be looking up rules. You are supposed to be looking up the rules. You will find the rule, usually, or rules, at the end of each question. And I give you credit for completing the worksheet if you complete it correctly. I don't want to see a lot of C for correct all up and down a page. That shows very little effort. Sometimes people get upset because they complete half the worksheet and either don't answer the rest of the questions or put C. And I don't do that. I don't give partial credit. You can't get a 50 simply by completing half the worksheet. But the object is to complete the worksheet well enough so that you will recognize the correct answer when you see it on the test. You don't even have to fill in the answer. You just have to recognize it among a list of possibilities. However, I allow students to take the test twice. Again, lots of people get upset when they don't see all the answers at the end of their first attempt. However, I build feedback into the test. You get feedback when you answer. If you read the feedback, you can probably figure out what the answer is. So you should take the first attempt of the test with your worksheet right there so that you can make notes on the worksheet. And many people do quite well the second time through the test because they've read the feedback and they've been able to figure out what the answer is. So even though the questions may be scrambled around, they recognize the question and they remember what they've read on the feedback, so that helps them, especially if they have changed their answers on the worksheet. However, people become so conditioned to getting a second attempt on the test that they don't read the instructions carefully for the final exam. There is one attempt on the final exam. One attempt. You do not get a second attempt. However, once again, if you do worksheet 33, that's your exam review, and you're going to get to see the questions after you submit, or after a certain period of time has passed, and after you submitted worksheet 33, you'll be able to see the answers. Worksheet 33, which is your exam review, and the final exam are set up very, very similarly. So there is no reason to fail the final exam. You review worksheet 33 long enough, well enough, review the answer key well enough, you should be fine. For example, here is the first question on worksheet 33. Bob, Lois, and I want to find a small, aggressive company's we can invest in. You need to put commas after items in a series, Bob, comma, Lois, comma, and where you have coordinate adjectives, small, comma, aggressive, you also need a period at the end of this sentence. Here is the first sentence on the final exam. Carol, Paula, and I have rented a handsome sun-filled house for the summer. Carol, comma, Paula, comma, items in a series, just like the other sentence. Handsome, comma, sun-filled. Once again, like the other sentence, these are coordinate adjectives, period at the end. And I tell students if they look over the key to worksheet 33 carefully enough, they will do well on the final exam. What you need to do is set your intention to learn in this class. It is quite possible to game the system, and I see people do it all the time. Toward the end of the semester, they figured it all out, and so they guess their way through the worksheet, guess their way through the first attempt at the test, and then write down the answers on their worksheet. So they do really well on the second attempt. But then a lot of these people fail the final exam because they haven't learned anything. I'll never forget a student who said to me, she asked me a question. I started explaining to her the answer. She said, I don't want to hear the explanation. Just give me the answer. That shocked me. I'll never forget that conversation with that student. I always wanted to know why. Why is it the right answer? Because if I understand why, I'm probably going to remember why it's the right answer, and I'll remember what the right answer is. So, as I said before, Oprah always talks about what's your intention for this. Is your intention to sort of, limp your way through the class, do well enough that you can answer the questions on the second attempt of the test, and then just, hope that you do well enough on the final exam to pass. That's not a really good intention. Make your intention to do the best you can and really learn, because the people who succeed in the workplace are the people who are powerful communicators. That's the number one job skill that employers want every time they're polled. That's the number one thing, is I want someone who communicates well orally and in writing.